Thursday. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you each and every weekday morning. I do want to make sure you are reminded I am off next week, so gotta get away. All right. It's been a wild, quite frankly, unreal several months. And the legislature's going strong this week. Both chambers are off next week, so that seemed to be the appropriate time for me to go ahead and clock out and get away for a bit. So no live shows next week, but you'll still be updated on what's going on at the Center Square. So go to thecentersquare.com, get the headlines in your inbox with the newsletter each and every weekday morning, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel. Each and every morning we break things down for you to let you know what's going on. Of course, I'm off next week. Just remember that. But you still can get clips of all kinds of news happening, not just from Illinois, but also from Washington, D.C. here at the Center Square on YouTube. We got several things we got to tackle, of course. Stuff happening at the State House, and we've got conversations about swipe fees. We've got issues about hearings in Washington, D.C. with Chicago area activists opposing the sanctuary state and city policies. But we also got to talk about the legislative maps that the Illinois Supreme Court ruled against Republicans on yesterday. And Republicans are saying that the Supreme Court continues to do the Democrats' dirty work. So that's what we're talking about here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Now, a lot of legislation's flying through the General Assembly. I did a quick calculation, and so far, the Illinois House has passed 228 bills. Just this week alone, 228 bills. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now Thursday, they're back in session. How many more bills are they going to pass? I don't know. They passed 82 yesterday. So 228 bills passed by the House so far this week. Yesterday in the Senate passed 109 Senate bills in one day. And in that one day, they passed those bills. You've got concurrence list. It was dozens and dozens and dozens of bills that were all on this concurrence list, and they all went together at once. So that's why it was 109 bills passed out of the Senate yesterday. Grand total so far, it's only Thursday, 337 bills that they have passed from one chamber to the next. Now, Friday's the deadline to do that, but as I've learned at the State House covering it for now 11 years, while there may be deadlines, those deadlines can be broken. It's, by way of voice vote, yay or nay, we're going to waive the rules for posting requirements or for bill deadlines. Happens more than you may think. And it's not necessarily reported out in that fashion, but a lot happening, right? So we'll obviously be watching all of that. Things that we have not seen move forward yet. The Homeschool Act. There was an amendment yesterday that was pushed, and we'll see if that comes up before the end of the week. That's going to be a House bill. Obviously, you want to stay with the Center Square, and we'll do what we can to get that out to you as soon as it happens. But you also have in the Senate the safe storage bill that would essentially require firearms owners to store their firearms in a safe if they're in a house with anybody that might be, not able to have a firearm, and all the other ramifications there are with potential civil liabilities in that. So that's another measure that we're watching for. We have yet to see that would come out of the Senate. So the Homeschool Act regulating homeschoolers, possibly critics say making homeschool parents, potential criminals, to the safe storage bill. We'll watch that. But some stuff that did pass yesterday. Out of the House, you had State Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer's school reporting measure that essentially says if a teacher or any school staff hears of a threat being made to an individual involving a firearm, either, I'm going to go home and get a firearm, or, I've got one in my car, or whatever it is, that school official has to report to authorities as soon as possible. So that was a measure from C.D. Davidsmeyer, came out of the Gun Violence Prevention Committee, the first committee of its kind in the Illinois House. So there was some bipartisan support for that idea, and it passed unanimously. There's also another measure that passed out of the Senate that was supported by the Illinois State Rifle Association, and that's a diversionary program for people who are charged with non-violent felonies involving a weapon. And that's meant to help, ensure that people aren't forever going to lose their Second Amendment rights, for instance. So the State Rifle Association supported that, and that also passed, I believe, unanimously. So those were a few things that did happen yesterday. Again, we're watching for the Homeschool Act. We're watching for the Safe Storage Bill, if those are going to pop out of the House or the Senate by the end of the week. So get the latest at thecentersquare.com and get that headline. All right, it is Illinois in Focus Daily. Coming back, we are going to talk about the Flip Chicago Red group in front of Washington, D.C. in a House committee about sanctuary policies. So that's on the way here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop.
This crisis exploded under Biden and were worsened by the reckless, agenda-driven leadership of Lori Lightfoot and Brandon Johnson. They didn't just ignore the collapse, they fueled it.
That is a leader of the Chicago Flip Red organization out of Chicago that you see sometimes in front of the Chicago City Council, making some public comments, talking about how they are sick and tired of Chicago being a sanctuary city. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Go check out the headline at thecentersquare.com, where you can see Jim Talamonte's story. Chicago Flips Red says mayor fueled city's collapse with migrant sanctuary. And this is
Republicans have lifted up.
This is Danielle Carter Walters testifying before a House committee. And clearly you've got that testimony. You can watch it all via the House committee website. It's linked up there at the Center Square. But here we are. The Trump administration has sued the city of Chicago. You've got the state of Illinois being sued by the Trump administration, the DOJ, over its migrant sanctuary policies. And those migrant sanctuary policies essentially say that law enforcement cannot say to federal immigration authorities, hey, we've got a non-citizen here and you need to come get them. And the arguments going all the way to the halls of Congress now with the Republicans in control of the House, how that's going to possibly change in a state like Illinois or in a city like Chicago hasn't really been seen because the Pritzker administration and the Johnson administration had been steadfast with their continuing of those policies, saying they don't want to make people unsafe, and they want to make sure that any resident, legal or not, documented or not, is able to contact law enforcement if they're the victim of something. So that's one of the arguments that the proponents make about this particular issue. But obviously, the opponents of sanctuary cities and sanctuary states say that they're allowing for non-citizen criminals to be out on the streets committing crimes and victimizing the public. Went all the way to the halls of Congress, and you had Danielle Carter Walters testify with opening statements in front of the U.S. Judiciary Committee subcommittee on this issue, and here's what she had to say.
We proudly stand with our president to bring his message to the Black American community and expose the lies pushed by the Democrat Party and the fake news media. We are here to to confront the reality of sanctuary cities. Despite the word sanctuaries, these cities are anything but safe. Chicago has claimed the title for years, and now we're drowning in the consequences. Lifelong residents are pushed aside, schools are overcrowded, crime is out of control, and affordable housing is vanishing. This crisis exploded under Biden and were worsened by the reckless, agenda-driven leadership of Lori Lightfoot and Brandon Johnson. They didn't just ignore the collapse, they fueled it.
So the testimony in front of members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats alike. There was a Democrat from Illinois, Chuy Garcia. He was there as well on the panel, pushing back on what he said were false narratives pushed by Republicans.
Republicans have lifted up some tragedies that involved immigrants committing a few crimes. This is the exception, not the rule. I live in an immigrant neighborhood in Chicago. I know what it's like. But the antidote to dishonesty is truth. And that's what I'm going to talk about. The truth here is that there's significant evidence that welcoming jurisdictions have lower crime rates, lower poverty rates, lower reliance on public assistance, and lower unemployment rates. This is from a stakeholder, someone who lives day in, day out. Do I want to live in a dangerous neighborhood? I have a wife, I have children, I have grandchildren. But welcoming jurisdictions have had to do this for good reason. And the truth is that the courts around the country have repeatedly upheld welcoming policies like the ones in Chicago, Cook County, and Illinois. They've also held that forcing states and localities to participate in immigration enforcement violates the Constitution. The truth is that welcoming policies increase trust between community and law enforcement. That's why forcing states and localities to be an instrument of ICE is opposed.
State of Illinois have been going to this. One state of Illinois have been going to this. One even afford it. If it's the humanitarian side, clearly that's a part of this overall debate. But the financial and humanitarian sides clashing here, and
the very people who supported the Democratic Party are being left in the cold, in my humble opinion. Because what they're doing to
Chicago. We're going to make it our business because we have seen the destruction that the Democratic Party policies have done to our communities and our city. It's funny that Mr. Garcia is from Chicago and he cannot tell you as what's happening in our community, because if he came into our community, he would see all the gang graffiti. Into our community, he would see all the gang graffiti, the Trendiagua signs, the MS-13. He would see that across.
Individual there sharing their thoughts and frustrations with what they've experienced over the past 4 years. This conversation's not over by any stretch, because at the Illinois State House, there's ongoing conversations from some legislators to do more with state policy to push back.
Well, unfortunately,
against the Trump administration's immigration issues. So we'll have all the coverage we can get for you at thecentersquare.com. Go check it out. I'm Greg Bishop. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. Thanks to the patient people in the live stream, but I want to remind people we live to tape, segments recorded, and we upload those and get those for you throughout the morning. So it is Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us each and every weekday morning for Illinois in Focus Daily.
This decision should add emphasis to the fact that we have massive conflicts of interest on the court and we determine for the court because they're not willing to do it themselves. what constitutes a conflict of interest and rises to a need for recusal for justices on critical issues.
It's Illinois State's Representative Ryan Spain yesterday after the Illinois Supreme Court ruled against Republicans challenging the legislative maps that were drawn by Democrats after the most recent census. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, and with you each and every weekday morning, breaking things down that happened at the State House for you the following morning here. So I appreciate you tuning in, and be sure to get the latest at thecentersquare.com, where you can go and find the headlines, including Illinois Supreme Court ruling against map challenge. Does Dems dirty work, GOP says. If you click through, you can actually watch some of the highlights we're about to share with you now. But you have State Representative Dan Ugasti, House Minority Leader Tony McCombie, and State Representative Ryan Spain, all of which who were party to a lawsuit filed against Democrats over the maps that were drawn. And after the 2020 census, you had those new legislative maps drawn behind closed doors before they brought them out, and those maps were given an F grade by various civic organizations that pushed back against the maps for a variety of reasons. But the Illinois Supreme Court, they ruled issues. Let me just read a little bit from the article here, the pull quotes from the majority opinion. They say plaintiffs could have brought this argument years ago. Their claim that waiting multiple election cycles is necessary to reveal the effects of redistricting is unpersuasive. They said plaintiffs' approach would also be prejudicial and create uncertainty for voters and office holders alike now and in the future as to whether any redistrict plan in Illinois is ever final. The majority opinion further stated that the timing is closer to the next decennial census than the last. Republicans said those are ridiculous arguments. They said that the federal judiciary has given guidance saying that if you're going to challenge a map, wait a couple of cycles to show the negative impacts of the gerrymandered map. That's what Republicans did. And then also the issue of, the uncertainty of judicial and legislative boundaries.
Support a fair map.